I met this woman as a virgin. Up till today, I've never met any woman in this life except this woman.
This man said he met his wife as a virgin, and since then he has never had an extramarital affair with any woman, but the wife has sued him to court for having a baby outside their marriage with thousands of evidences. But I want you to watch the video and tell me who is lying and who is saying the truth between the two.
Yetunde Sonny, I know you have some health challenges and you'd love to have a seat. You can take your seat. And you brought your husband, so that's your wife. You're the one that brought your husband to court, Owolabi Sonny. What's the problem? Are you still living together?
No.
When did you separate?
Actually, he ran away. He absconded from home.
When?
That was recent December made it a year. He absconded with another woman.
Okay.
So the reason why I wanted to go back to the root of the issue is because of that, mostly because of that woman. She's named Uremu Ogbeta, who I later, with evidence, had an issue for him.
What kind of marriage did you conduct?
I did we did introduction, we did registry, we did engagement, we did church wedding.
All right.
So, like I said, I cast my mind back. When he sent for me, it was in the church then, because the whole thing got me a little bewildered, because I see
the whole thing did what?
A little bewildered at the end of the day, and it's part of what gave me this health issue. Because since he left, I've been battling with the health issue, and it was even not only me, myself and my kids. So when he sent for me, then I could remember vividly. I was in a friend's house. I was 29 years old then. That was far back as 20 years ago now. So he called me, he sent for me. He was the prayer warrior leader in the church. I had hardly known him then. When I met with him, the first thing the pastor that I was living with told me was I should be very, very careful, because he's a very cunning person. I never even, I was very young in the faith then, so I believe Christian thing that probably prayer will take care of things like that. We continued until we eventually got married. We married 2 months into the marriage. I was a month pregnant. The next thing I saw was Uremu came visiting. She came for the wedding. What she even gave me that day, I still remember. I was telling my kid of recent the gift she brought for the wedding. So 2 months into the wedding, Uremu came on a visit. So we were just talking together, and the next thing I just like, so how old is the pregnancy? I was like, what kind of thing is this? I was really wroth within me that how could you be infringing into someone else's privacy? So I told her that is not just right, and I changed my tone, and she had to go. And immediately she left, I faced him. I said, how could Uremu know I'm pregnant? I said, this is not just fair. In fact, that day, it was a serious issue, because there was never anything I would say that he will listen. It is either he's pointing finger at my face. That was just the order. Even till yesterday there, when he stood up and came closer, I was pointing finger at me. So we fought that day. We actually fought with my pregnancy, because he won't say anything wrong in most of the things he does in life. So that case passed like that. I gave birth to my baby. We used to have issues, too much issues.
How many children do you have?
We have 5 at the moment. We have 5 children.
I'm looking at your statements, and you've broken down everything. Yes, so I'll just be bringing them out. Okay. So you'll be... Okay. First, you have issue of violence and assault. Yes. Can you tell me what happened with that?
So this is just where I am. The issue started with my 2 weeks baby, my first baby, Omubari, like I said. That day, food issue. You went to work, you came back. Baby is just less than 2 weeks. And I told him, you came back around 9 o'clock. He didn't even ask me. I've not even eaten since morning. I told him. The mother was around. and everything would just be like, at the end of the day, he went out, brought food for the mother. I said, won't I eat? The issue started. I said, me, I don't understand this kind of marriage. Somebody just gave birth. You can't feed me. And in the middle of the issue, I was annoyed. I just said, let me go out with the baby. As I held the phone. The phone was with me. As I was going out, he just said I should give him the phone. He wanted to drag it. I just said, leave me. He just gave me. This is where he deals with me, the edge of the hand. It gave me here, the edge of the hand. This was where he gave me. I shouted that night, and people had to, we were even in a room, people had to rush in. And the first time in my life, I was like, is this the person I married? I ran out. I didn't sleep home. They took me out. I didn't sleep home that night. I still came back. I wanted to come and pick some things. I ran after 10. And he didn't even say anything. Himself and the mother. In fact, when he beat me finish, he went to tell the mother outside. I said, Moti, no, I've beaten her. I left. And I didn't sleep home that night. I ran. The next morning, I went to my godfather's house. The man that stood for me for the wedding. And I told the man, he was very, very mad. I said, what kind of a man is the person you brought home? They called for him. They called for the mother. And one striking thing the man said, that he said if he's from the place he came from, that is a taboo. If any man beats a woman under wet blood. And this very child, part of the thing that pained me, I gave birth to her in Redeemed Church, Oyigbo. He was there while I was giving birth to the baby. He was the one that they even told me they used blade on me when the baby will not come out on time. And I've been on labor for 4 days for this girl. And he treated me that. And the man he really scolded him and everything. He had to tell him to beg. Even the mother, the both of them begged.
They apologized.
Yes.
Because I have it there, they eventually apologized.
Yeah, I did there with the mother. We left. And
you spoke about extramarital affair. I have bigamy here.
He told me one day that Uremu is pregnant and is pregnant for her boyfriend. Because the thing is always her boyfriend. But I guess I later discovered that it was the boyfriend was a code for him. He said Uremu got pregnant for the boyfriend and that she tried to abort and that the thing was hanging. Immediately I was like, no, it's not good. Since she has tried it once, then she had to go for evacuation. I said, tell her to come. Of which she did. When she came, we went to the hospital and she had the evacuation as I thought. And when we slept, I even told him that she should stay for like 2-3 days, that I would take care of her. I never knew anything was between them. And in the middle of the night, I slept. I had a dream. In the dream, what I had clearly from my mom is, she said it in Yoruba, why did you open down your door and allow snakes to be coming in and going out? Immediately, I woke him up. I said, this is what I saw. He knew I'm gifted in dream. Likewise, he too. So, when I told him, I said, please, tomorrow morning, I don't want to Uremu here again. Let her go. This cannot be just anything. Of which she did the next morning. In fact, I told her myself, I said she should come and be going. She left. I thought that was the end of it with Uremu. This was 16 years ago, after the 20 years knowing Uremu. So after then, another thing I discovered, when we left the house, we moved to Ifume's house, Major Ifume. I still had a dream. I saw Uremu still with him. I called him. I said, are you still going to Uremu? In fact, he didn't deny. You know when I say, I'm a prophetess by my calling. So, he said yes. So all of this, I was thinking like, what time did you have a married man close to Uremu? I still scolded. I thought that would be like, come to his mind. We were both workers in the church. We were both in the choir department. If I was a choir leader, we both sing. I'm a gospel artist. And I thought everything would just be like, perhaps he didn't know he should not do that as a man. I still scolded him that day. About 4 times, he ran away from house. And each time he runs, he ran then. One thing is very peculiar. It will be a time that there is no food for me and the children. And I'm the one that is always on these children, teaching them. Teaching my children. None of my 5 children ever attended school. Because of them, I formed La Best School, Labi and Esther School. In the city room, I'll try to gather some children in the neighborhood, come and join. None of my children, apart from her and the sister, when they went to write their external, I went to register them, and the one after, when I went to, they didn't even do all this junior WAEC. They didn't do. My first daughter, when she wrote her mock, I took her. She got admission to the Queen's College. Then no money to pay. So, and I'd been the one teaching them. And this is Z. He will be telling people, go about painting me blue black. She's not working. She's not working. I said, I'm not working. Teaching these children. If you have to pay me, how much will you pay me? Even when I entered marriage, two things I noticed. The mother, when she was going, after she came for my daughter, she went with my wedding shoe, only for her to return that she mistakenly took it. Then another thing, my results, my diploma in computer that I did, and my school start, I had 7 A's in my school start, and I had 2 credits in my school start. Then that was 89 then. So these were the things I was putting up with. So about 4 times, like, yeah, as I absconded from one, I made up my mind after the first one that I would not look for him. But each time he just ran like that. The only thing is, this student care. So I discovered he was doing it intentionally.
You spoke about a time when he wanted to choke you, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And your children had to carry stick to rescue you. Okay. Then you still have some part where you said some years back he was sick to the point of death.
Yeah.
And he later confessed to me that he was still going to visit Uremu, which is what you just said. Because I highlighted main points of your. Then you talk about abandonment, negligence of responsibility. You never sent the 5 children to any school
at all.
Then you said 2 girls are done.
Yes.
Since 2 years ago with their school sets.
Yeah, that's how they are.
And you have to register them as external students then. So now you spoke about defamation of character.
Yes.
What do you have to say on that?
Yeah. The aspect of defamation of character, even within my children later told me many a times when I go out, you will call them, we begin to tell them things. In fact, that was what even made the issue. Because me too, I carry it on the stick, daddy. Me, I don't know how to lie. I carry it on the stick. It will sit my children down. We begin to tell them terrible things. It will say, me, the house I come from, because he wanted to kill one gecko, which was true when we were in courtship, that my father shouted at him that we are wicked people. That because of that particular issue, he kept saying, he told my children, all of them, that your father's mother is a wicked, and so your mother too is a wicked person. He said, I'm a witch. In fact, the night he went out, 2 hours he was outside shouting to the whole compound, she's a witch. When we got to the human rights people, welfare, last month, I went to report him. Most of the things I've been hearing from people, even my family, when I went there, for the first time I went to my family that December, they called me. I didn't even know he used to call, because I'm a very private person. I didn't know he used to call. And he got a stage, my immediate sister said, maybe the 2 families should sit together. Maybe this thing has to be dissolved. Because the things he will come and be telling them about me. And he was so successful at causing division between me and my family. But I just spoke to my immediate elder brother this morning. This one, I was out of the place. I never spoke with my brother. I just spoke with him this morning. My daughter was there at the hotel where they lodged us. So he said, he said I lured him into marriage. He said I seduced him into marriage.
But you have 5 children together. So
it's a serious case, man. He said I seduced him. I did say something, and this was the thing he was saying about his sister. He was saying that as a Christian, he said she lured me to be having sex with her, sex with her, having sex with her. She said because she was too old. That's why I lured him into marriage while we were in courtship. I married at the age of 31. He was 32. And he was saying all of these things like as if there's no man's business. He said she fights everywhere she goes. I'm a very, very private person. She said everybody, she will fight with them. That she will not listen. And he is the type that if we go to party, the family will tell him go and be picking bottles. As hold, he will be the one picking bottles up and down. If he goes to his friend's house, he will be the one with clipper, cutting head. With my beautiful child, I will call him. I say, what is all of this? He will even want those people to know.
How long did you cut before you got married?
We cut it for 2 years. We cut it for 2 years.
He
said I seduced the. If you see the way he was saying it, he seduced me.
Should have seen few things, you know.
Then back to Uremu's case. It was from there I later discovered September, this same Uremu, they had a chat. Because the same number we were calling on anonymous. I saw September last year, 2001. Say, have you connected to the man of God? And he was answering. In fact, this was 9/21. In fact, I just remember we're still together in the house. So when I saw, I said, who is this? I flipped. I saw Seven Ogbeta Brown. Her name is Uremu Ogbeta. I said, okay, no problem. I started messaging Uremu. I said, Uremu, this is what. In fact, I messaged until I now told my daughter, I said, this thing, I can't believe. Hey, you are still dealing with Uremu.
Sure.
I now called my daughter, call Uremu.
You know it. You know
I said, call Uremu. So when Uremu picked the call, I now said, this and this and that. The next thing you said, he said, what is wrong in that? What is wrong in that? I and my husband, we have known each other for long. Before you even knew him. He said, it's my man. I said, And he called the phone on me. This was just last year. And before I knew it, I wanted to call him. When I was calling him, the phone was busy immediately. And I now went back calling Uremu too. Her phone was busy. Both phones were busy. About 30 minutes, they were done. I called him. Till tomorrow, he didn't pick that call. He didn't pick. So the whole thing was like, I now remember that lady that has been telling me one short lady. She's my friend's sister. I connected my sister. I said, please tell this person. I want your sister. I will explain everything. And before we knew it, I said, can you just help me? He said, Auntie, but I've been telling you, I used to see him. And before we knew it, the girl said, no problem. She has a customer that is her own friend. Uremu's customer that is her friend. That she will tell him, tell her if she can help her, he explain everything. And he told him that man that used to come is a married man that is her sister. At the end of the day, this is Uremu. This is the daughter.
Let me have it.
So after he ran away, anytime he come home, he's now on jeans. He will even be sagging at times. He will do his hand like this. He will say, I have my plans. I have plans. I don't have time for you and your. She even told me to my face, you seduce me. If I want to hold him, he will not. If he come through front door, he will run away through kitchen. By the time they will go outside, they will not even see a trace of him. That's why I kept running helter skelter. That's why he kept running helter skelter from me. Abandoned the 7 children.
You know, he has to respond to all this too. Let me hear his own side of the story.
Thank you. I want to stand here to say that. What I want to say here, God is my witness. I will not tell a lie. I'm a child of God, I'm a pastor. By the grace of God, what I will say here, if you can say, I can stand on any altar as I'm standing here and swear. Oh, if what all she's saying is true, let her stand, let her swear to God. I can swear to God. I want to say, I met this woman as a virgin. Up till today, I've never met any woman in this life except this woman. When I met her as I don't know anything about life. I told her, I said, I don't know anything. I said, my language was, I want to learn. And when I met her, my first salary in courtship, till I left home, I gave up my all. If I'm taking anything, either salary or anything, I'm not making the money, she's not spending it. And she worked for, like she said, she worked for 10 months. We got married, and even let me start from where she started, because it's not as if I said she lured me. But this is what she told me herself, and God is my witness. And I'll tell my children, all the witnesses they will say today, let them say today, because tomorrow I know the truth will come to say, even if it's 20 years. Because I met her, I don't know anything, but I never had any girlfriend in my life. I met her. What she told me later was that she had been praying, or after the issue of covenant and all that, she had been praying. Nobody came, and she went for deliverance for 7 weeks at K2. The person that was holding the deliverance happened to be a pastor from Foursquare, Reverend Amison. And he did the deliverance for 7 weeks. At the expiration of 7 weeks, the man told him your husband is coming. And I was one that came. And somebody came, a pastor prayed in my, that happens to be that's someone that wants to marry her friend. That's supposed to be a husband to her friend. That's an older friend. That one to met her with that friend. So she now said, are you married? He said, no. Do you want to get married? I said, yes. He prayed for her, and he said, in 1 month, So all these things put together, and I came to as if I was a prayer answered. So when she took me to that deliverance man, when we got there, I never knew the man. I was expecting him to welcome me as the lucky man, but I saw this guy. The man was not friendly. She was not that told me later that the man told her, "This is not your husband. Let him go." But she said after 7 years, she will not let him go. She didn't tell me. So that's why I said, they told us, man. They told us. They told him. They told her. They told me too. And people were like pitying me because they know this woman. That not that they know, they have seen something that. It is you. What the language told her was that the pastor said, "No, I told the pastor, you are not that said I should go and pray. I prayed and I told you what I saw. Now you said when she discovered some traits in her, she said, this one, I discovered there are traits of worldliness in this woman that she won't be good for. And the way the man handled it made me to like, what is all this? You are saying and I became because I was sitting with the pastor. So the pastor said, look, let me not pray. Go and meet my friend. Let me pray for you. And the man said, what I saw is I saw a dead end. Ask her. They kept saying it dead end. After we became an issue in the church. After some time, the thing went down. We came to the pastor and said, go back to my friend. Let him pray. Maybe we got to that pastor again. He said, dead end. I said, which two of us said, which one is dead end? Dead end.
The two of you were
now, yes.
You were told that at the
same time
you were together.
Yes.
Then.
And we went ahead and she told me that I was an errand boy. She said, all this, I'm too simple. So you see me as a foolish person. He told me, look, there are some tests here. There are some tests that she sent. So many of them, I kept them. He said, there are 50. There are about 50. I still have it here. My home too is there. So she said, I'm an errand boy at the age of 30. They are still sending me. So he now told me that I'm the one, because the pastor, when she discovered some things, we fixed our wedding for 2002. I met her in 2002. So we did the courtship for some months and we are planning the wedding. The pastor called us and said we should sit down. And because I stayed with the pastor, the pastor now said, oh yeah, rise. You're not writing. She became I just want to be planning for us because we are married this guy. Because the issue was that the pastor immediately discovered that we are together. Truly, the pastor was now behaving in a way that now I can say, Esther, leave that department, go to this place, do this. And she now said, is it because I'm married to this guy that you are now, before you call me sister Esther, now you are not calling me Esther, anyhow. And when it comes to the issue of the planning of the wedding, at that point in his office, something happened, and they began to, with the pastor, began to argue, began to talk to the pastor. Pastor said, me, he now told me, he said, oh yeah, two of you, talk to her, before he said, he asked us to go out. And the pastor now cancelled the wedding. People were now saying, is he your father? And the pastor cancelled wedding. And all that. Is he, now wow, this church said this. So she now told me, because me, I'm a mumu, she told me, leave the pastor, leave the house, leave the church. I don't know that she was taking me out of my taking me to a place she would deal with me. I left the pastor, left the house. We were now wondering. That's why we started having sex. I've never had sex, man. I started having sex with her before marriage. We had severally, and I was like, each time I pray God, I don't die in this thing until we got married. This woman, we were married for 17 years. We lived in 13 houses.
This matter is unfolding as the court proceeding continues in the